I sit in my parents' living room, on the edge of a flowered chair that has stayed in the same place for 20 years. Christmas lights shine through the windows and reflect on family photos on the wooden shelves. Vacations, graduations, celebrations, where my smile never looked real. The fireplace burns, giving warmth that does not reach the cold in my chest. Juliet screams with joy as she opens a small gold-wrapped box. "Mom, Dad, it's exactly what I wanted. You spent $4,300 you shouldn't have." She pulls out a cream Gucci bag and holds it like a baby. The shiny logo catches the light. She is 26 but looks like 16. Mom smiles wide. "Only the best for our baby girl." Dad nods. "You deserve it, princess." I slowly open my gift, just a small envelope with a snowflake sticker. My hands don't shake. I am used to this. Inside is a $2 card with a printed season's greetings. No note, no money, nothing else. My face stays calm, but inside something breaks. 29 years of hope disappear in one moment. Across the room, Aunt Margaret looks at me. Her mouth opens in shock before she hides it. She knows. She sees. Dad looks at his watch. "Traffic will be bad if we don't leave for the restaurant by 7. Mom quickly refills Juliet's eggnog, not meeting my eyes. "Look how the leather shines," Juliet says, walking around with her new bag. "It matches everything I own." My hands finally shake a little as I fold the card and put it in my pocket. A small reminder that I am invisible. This morning, in my small Portland apartment, I wrapped the gifts I bought with care. My teacher's salary of $57,000 barely covers loans and rent, but I save for months. For Mom, a silk scarf from Italy, $180, wrapped with a perfect bow. "She will love the blue pattern," I whispered. For Dad, a Parker pen, 145s with his initials engraved. He said he needed one for meetings. For Juliet, a rare art book, $120, with a note about the exhibit we promised to see together. A promise never kept. Maybe this Christmas will be different, I told myself in the mirror as I put on mascara. Hope, always growing, even after years of cold. Now I stand, fixing my skirt as the family celebrates around me. Juliet takes photos of her bag for Instagram. Dad pours more bourbon. Mom arranges cookies on an old plate. "I need some fresh air," I say. My voice is steady, though my chest feels like an earthquake. No one looks up except Aunt Margaret. She walks to me and touches my shoulder. Her hand presses firmly, sending a message without words. "You're not wrong," she whispers. "You deserve more." I nod, my throat tight, and get my coat. The wool scratches my wrists as I button it from bottom to top. No one notices when I leave through the front door. Silence follows me down the steps, across the icy path, to my car covered in snow. The drive to Council Crest Park takes 12 minutes. I park facing the overlook. The lights of Portland shine below like fallen stars. The city moves on with Christmas Eve, not knowing about one lonely car and one broken family bond. When did I become invisible to them? I ask, my breath fogging the glass. I take the card from my pocket. It is not just paper. It is proof of 29 years of being ignored, of hoping for love that never came. Tears finally run down my face, warm on my cold skin. For 29 years I hoped my family would love me equally, but now I see it will never happen. Through my tears, the city lights blur into messy watercolors. I wonder how many people tonight sit alone, holding proof that their families never truly saw them. A month passes in silence. My family calls only sometimes, but my aunt calls often to check on me. One Tuesday after work, I spread photo albums on my floor. The weak January sun fights through Portland's gray sky. 1 month since Christmas. 1 month since the $2 card. Elise Turner archaeological dig, I whisper, touching a photo from my 13th birthday. A cheap cake sits under hot kitchen lights. My smile looks fake. Beside it, I place another photo. Juliet's 16th birthday at the Benson Hotel. A 3-layer cake under shining chandeliers. Dad's arm around her shoulders. Mom fixing her pearl necklace. I see it clearly now. I have been recording my own erasure all along. My college acceptance letters sit in plastic sleeves. Mine, full scholarship to Portland State. Their note, you'll need to work part-time for expenses. Juliet's to fashion school. Their message, we're so proud. Don't worry about anything but your studies. My hands shake as I turn to graduation photos. Mom and Dad arrived 20 minutes before it ended. Dad checked his watch. Sorry we're late, honey. Juliet's fashion show needed us. Mom fixed my collar, left lipstick on my cheek, and asked when I would start job hunting. The photos surround me like evidence of a culture built on unfairness. I open a drawer and pull out a leather ledger. It shows years of self-reliance. Student loan debt, $24,800, even after working 20 hours a week at $12 an hour. Next to it, an email from Dad. Sorry we can't help with your apartment deposit right now. Beside it, a newspaper article about Juliet's fashion school. Tuition $38,000 a year, plus $20,000 for her program in Milan. The numbers burn in my mind. My rent bill, mine $200 for a one-bedroom with bad heating. Juliet's Instagram, her new luxury apartment, $2,800 rent, paid fully by family. My phone buzzes. I ignore it. I turn to a pile of birthday cards. Mom's handwriting repeats year after year. Elise. I place the $2 Christmas card inside my journal. Beneath it, I write, the last time I will beg for love. The phone buzzes again. A family group chat. I mute it. Done. A text from Mom. Casual dinner Sunday. Your father's grilling steaks. I reply, sorry, I have plans. No excuses. No promises. Juliet calls next. Elise, can you help me move next weekend? Mom and Dad are busy with money stuff. My finger hovers. The old me would cancel plans, show up with coffee, and build IKEA furniture while Juliet gave orders. But not now. I text, good luck with the move. She types, stops, types again. Finally, what's wrong with you lately? I take a deep breath and send the most honest message I've ever written. I need time away from family gatherings. The reply comes fast. Mom's going to be upset. I set the phone down. For once, her feelings are not my job. In the bathroom mirror, I study my face. Same hazel eyes, same straight nose, same person who waited 29 years for fairness. When does hope become self-destruction? I ask my reflection. Back at my journal, I write another question. What would I tell my students if this happened to them? The answer comes quickly. I would tell them they deserve respect. I would tell them love should never depend on proving your worth. I would tell my students that sometimes the family we are born into cannot see our worth. I close the photo albums, put away the ledger of money struggles, and stack everything in a box. Not to forget, but to keep proof. To remind myself that I am not imagining things. This is not me overreacting. The pattern is real. The erasure is written down. And for the first time, I let myself see it clearly. When did you realize something painful in your life had to change? 6 weeks later, I am in a new job and focused only on myself. The sun shines through the pottery studio windows as my hands press cool clay. The wheel spins, and something beautiful takes shape. Every Saturday for 6 weeks I have come here. The $250 course receipt hangs on my fridge, held by a magnet that says investment in myself. You have a natural touch, Elise, says Miranda, my teacher. Her silver hair falls as she leans over my work. Most beginners fight the clay. You are learning to work with it. I smile. I understand the lesson. For 29 years, I fought my family's view of me instead of shaping something new with what I have. Thank you, I say, shaping the edge of a bowl. I'm trying to be more patient. With clay and with myself. Dr. Williams's words from therapy still echo. Your worth isn't measured by their recognition. $90 each session. Money I once spent on gifts for people who never valued me. Now I spend it to build my inner world. Last night I took down the last family photo from my wall. In its place, I hung 3 prints from a local artist. Lonely trees standing strong against stormy skies. My bookshelf is also different now. It holds books I chose, not the ones Dad said cultured people should read. My phone buzzes. Mom's name appears. Elise, dear, she says. You should host Easter dinner this year. Juliet is busy, and it would be a chance to show everyone you're cooking. Her tone holds quiet judgment. 3 months ago, I would have agreed, desperate to prove my worth with perfect food and a spotless home. Today, I wipe clay from my hands and type, I'm not available to host Easter. I have other plans. No excuse, no apology. Just a boundary, clear as the line between wet clay and dry table. Very nice, Miranda says, nodding at my bowl. You're centered. I am. In more ways than one. Monday morning brings a surprise at school. The principal, Mr. Harrington, calls me in. He slides my teacher evaluation across the desk, smiling. "This is excellent work, Elise. The student responses to your writing class were amazing. I've never seen numbers like these." I read the comments. One student wrote, "Miss Turner's assignment about writing my life story from another view changed how I see myself. I never thought of being the hero instead of the victim." The words settle in my chest like a warm stone. After years of feeling unseen, I am helping others see themselves. "There's more," the principal says. "We need someone to lead the summer writing program. Your independence is exactly what we need. There's a stipend, too." The word independent used to hurt, the way my mother used it to excuse her neglect. Now it feels like respect. "I'd be honored," I say, standing tall. That afternoon, I get an email inviting me to speak at a regional education conference. My finger hovers over delete. My first thought is that it must be a mistake. Then I remember Dr. Williams' words, "Assume you deserve good things until proven otherwise." I click accept. That evening, I move $500 into my savings account marked home down payment. The first step toward owning a home that will be mine, not a corner of someone else's life. At midnight, the phone rings. Juliet is crying. "He broke up with me, Elise. Derek left after dinner. I can't be alone. Please come." The old me would have jumped out of bed, driven fast, and held her until morning. The new me takes a breath. "I'm so sorry, Juliet. I can talk tomorrow during my lunch break." "What?" "I need you now." "This is serious." "I know you're hurting. I'm available at noon tomorrow. My time matters too." Silence. Then a small voice. I guess I could wait. "I'm sorry, Elise. I didn't think about what time it is." After we hang up, I lie awake, waiting for Mom's angry call. It comes at 1:17 a.m., her voicemail full of familiar accusations. I delete it without listening to the end. In the weeks that follow, my circle grows wider. Robert, the history teacher across the hall, stops at my desk after school. "Would you like dinner Friday?" he asks, twisting a paperclip. "Just as friends. I admire your students." Aunt Margaret visits, laying Grandma's quilt on my bed. "She always saw your light, Elise," she says softly. "She left this for you. She knew you'd honor its story." My pottery classmates plan a hike to Mount Hood. My therapist notes how my posture has changed, opening like a flower toward the sun. At a staff meeting, when the athletic director ignores my idea about adding writing to physical education, my colleague Sandra speaks up. "Elise has been saying this for years. The research supports it." The family group chat buzzes with news of cousin Caleb's June wedding. Everyone replies with joy. I type, "I'll attend, but I'll drive separately." Mom texts me privately. "Why are you being difficult?" I answer with calm honesty. Setting healthy boundaries isn't being difficult. In my calendar, I add, "Wedding. 2 hours maximum. Bring Robert. We have been dating for a while now." My balcony garden grows strong, herbs and wildflowers leaning into the evening light. I sit with my journal. The pages now hold fewer questions, more declarations. Today I write, "Growth needs both distance and nourishment." My clay-stained fingers trace the words. I look at a bee moving between flowers, steady and sure. A question rises in me. What seeds of self-respect are you ready to plant? The answer blooms inside me. Seeds that will let me thrive. Months later, the day of the wedding arrives. I step out of Robert's car, smoothing my sage green silk dress. Simple, elegant, bought with careful saving. "You look beautiful," Robert whispers, his hand warm on my back. The country club stretches out before us, with neat green lawns and Mount Hood in the distance. Cousin Caleb chose a beautiful place for his wedding, though I wonder how Uncle George could afford it with only his hardware store. "Ready?" Robert asks. I nod, more honest than I've ever been. 6 months of therapy and boundaries have prepared me for this day. Juliet sees us right away, waving hard at the entrance. Her sparkly dress shines in the sun, throwing little rainbows on the ground. Too fancy for a garden wedding, but that's Juliet. Always a bit too much. "Elise, you actually came," she says, kissing the air near my cheek, perfume thick around us. "And you brought a friend?" "Robert Thompson," he says, shaking her hand. "Elise's colleague. And more," I add firmly. "We've been dating for 3 months." Juliet's eyebrows shoot up. Mom didn't mention that. Mom doesn't know everything about my life anymore, I say. Before Juliet can answer, Mom appears, smiling too tightly. Her eyes flick from my necklace to my dress to Robert's steady presence. Elise, darling, her hug feels stiff. Your apartment must feel crowded with company. Have you thought about upgrading? The old sting rises, but I breathe and stay calm. My apartment suits me perfectly. Dad walks over, adjusting his collar. His suit looks looser than before. There's my independent girl, he says, patting my shoulder awkwardly. Your apartment must be too small by now. Same words, different parent. I just smile. Aunt Margaret sweeps in, hugging me warmly. Look at you, she whispers, standing tall. She glances around, then adds quietly, your parents are having money troubles. Thomas's investments crashed. The ceremony passes quickly in white dresses and promises. At the reception, I notice small details I never would have before. Dad arguing with the photographer about money. Mom carrying a worn leather purse instead of her usual Prada. Juliet's face tightening when the bartender hands back her declined credit card. I step outside into the garden for a break. Roses climb the walls, filling the air with heavy perfume. I breathe deeply and count backward from 10. Dr. Williams's trick for calming shock. Running away again? Juliet's voice startles me. She stands nearby, mascara smudged. Taking a moment, I correct her. It matters. She drops onto a stone bench, suddenly clumsy. You're different now. Yes. I saw how unfair everything was. I'm sorry, Elise, she says. I wait. Her apologies often come with strings. They can't help me anymore, she admits, her voice breaking. Dad's business is falling apart. The condo is being sold. My cards are maxed out. I sit beside her, leaving space between us. That sounds hard. I never learned to stand on my own like you did. A tear cuts through her makeup. I don't know how to live on just what I earn. The sunset turns her sequins into tiny flames. We sit in silence, the first easy silence since childhood. Back inside, Dad corners me by the cake. You've always been good with money, he says, sounding unsure. Teachers know about retirement planning. We might need some advice. Family helping family, you know. Before I answer, relatives crowd around. Elise, heard your department head, Uncle George shouts. Always knew you'd be successful. Mom appears beside me. Elise was always our practical one, she says, twisting her wedding ring nervously. So responsible. Across the room, Robert talks with his sister, who drove up from Salem. She's the most respected teacher at her school, I hear him say, pride in his voice. Juliet comes over, quieter than usual. Do you know about cheap apartments in Portland? Maybe with roommates? The irony isn't lost on me. After years of being unseen, suddenly everyone notices me, not for who I am, but for what I might give them. Later, Dad mentions temporary family assistance. I stay polite but firm. I'm not in a position to help financially. My budget is carefully balanced. To Juliet, I offer something real. Start with a budget and roommates. That's how I survived my first 3 years teaching. She nods. Two roommates. Mom tries guilt, her specialty. We always supported you. Emotionally or financially? I ask softly. Her silence says more than words could. At 9 o'clock, I find Robert by the bar. Ready to leave? I ask. The relief in his eyes matches mine. Whenever you are. We slip out during the bouquet toss and drive toward Cannon Beach instead of Portland. Walking barefoot along the shore, shoes in our hands, the night air tastes of salt and freedom. You handled that beautifully, Robert says. I watch the moonlight ripple over the Pacific. Sometimes the greatest gift is seeing clearly. The waves crash and retreat, older than any family pattern. I wonder how many others have found strength in walking away from expectations that never helped them, choosing instead the uncertain path of self-respect. The ocean doesn't answer, but now I don't need it to. A week after the wedding, I arrive at my parents' house at 6 sharp, parking my Honda next to Dad's rusting Lexus. 2 hours. That's all I've given this family talk. My watch timer is already set. The porch light flickers as I walk up. No wreath hangs on the door this June evening, but the heavy weight of expectation still lingers. I knock instead of using my key. Mom opens the door with a too bright smile and a too tight hug. Elise, you look wonderful. That promotion suits you. Inside, I notice changes. The Italian leather sectional is gone, replaced by a plain beige sofa. The expensive crystal vase is missing from the coffee table, though family photos still line the walls. Dad stands from his chair, his shoulders bent. Punctual as always, Elise. I have a morning meeting, I say. I can stay until 8. Juliet sits in a corner chair, her hands twisting nervously. She gives me a small wave, but stays quiet. Mom brings in a tray of coffee and cookies. I made your favorite lemon ones. Family needs to stick together in hard times. Dad starts without delay, pacing in front of the cold fireplace. The Turner name has always meant something in this community. Mom takes my hand. We've always been proud of you, Elise. Your independence, your teaching award. You've never needed much from us. My skin prickles. The same script, only different timing. I sip my coffee and wait. The market downturn has been brutal for the firm, Dad says, his voice strained. Our portfolio, we've had big losses. The bank has been calling about the mortgage, Mom whispers. We might lose the house, Dad says, clearing his throat. Juliet's lease is up next month. Her apartment raised the rent again. Mom squeezes my hand. We saw the school district posted that department head job, the one with the big raise. The pieces fall into place. I set my coffee cup down carefully. We're just wondering if you might temporarily help with Juliet's expenses, Dad says. The word temporarily stretches thin. Family helping family, Mom adds, her smile trembling. You've always been our rock. The room goes silent. Juliet stares at her manicure, shame in her face. I need to say something I should have said long ago. My voice is steady, even if my heart is not. I take the worn Christmas card from my purse and place it on the coffee table. This was the moment I finally saw the truth. Dad frowns. A Christmas card? Really, Elise? We're talking about serious financial issues. This isn't about money. I trace the picture of snowy mountains. This is about 29 years of proof that I matter less. Juliet's sweet 16 at the Benson Hotel, while my 13th birthday was a grocery store cake. My scholarship with your note telling me to work part-time while you fully paid for Juliet's fashion school and semester in Italy. Mom's face goes pale. We never meant... I don't think it was on purpose, I say. But it happened. Over and over. Every birthday. Every Christmas. Every milestone. That's ridiculous. Dad snaps, his face red. We gave you everything you needed. But not what she wanted, Juliet says softly. The room freezes. She's right, Juliet continues. We always treated her as less. I saw it. I benefited from it. Dad opens his mouth, then closes it. The family story cracks in front of me. This isn't about punishment, I say. But if we want a relationship, it has to start with respect and equality. So you won't help your sister? Mom's tears spill. Real this time. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I won't be the family's financial fix while the pattern continues. I won't pay for Juliet's luxury apartment while I've struggled with my own rent. I won't keep giving everything while getting nothing. After all we've done for you, Dad's voice rises, showing what he really expects. This is how you repay us. I'm offering something better than money, I reply evenly. I'm offering honesty. A chance at a relationship built on respect instead of obligation. She doesn't owe us, Juliet says quietly. None of this is her responsibility. Silence fills the room. The first honest silence in decades. I stand, smoothing my skirt. I need acknowledgement of what's happened. I need my boundaries respected. I'll help Juliet find an affordable apartment, make a budget, apply for jobs, but I won't give up my financial security or self-respect. Mom sobs quietly. Dad stares out the window, stiff with pride. Think about what I've said. I pick up my purse. I'll let myself out. The night air feels clean as I walk to my car. Stars shine above, witnesses to a truth finally spoken. I realize as I start the engine that truth doesn't have to be harsh to be powerful. It only has to be spoken. What truth have you needed to speak, even when others weren't ready to hear it? I unlock the door to my new Portland condo. The key slides in with a satisfying click. 1 year after that Christmas card, my life has changed. Not because of what others gave me, but because I finally gave myself permission to matter. Last box, Robert says, setting a container labeled books on the bamboo floor I chose myself. His steady presence has become a comfort I never knew I needed. Not rescue, but partnership. I run my fingers over the framed house key on the wall. Beneath it, a plaque reads, $18,000, the price of freedom. Every dollar came from overtime, careful budgets, and saying no to family demands that once drained me. Department head looks good on you, Aunt Margaret says, placing wildflowers into a vase I made in pottery class. She squeezes my shoulder, her eyes warm. You built this life piece by piece, Elise. Sunlight pours through the windows I chose, spreading golden shapes across the dining table set for 4. Not a grand feast, but an intentional one. Robert, Aunt Margaret, and Juliet will join me here, on my terms, in my space, with my boundaries safe. This morning, Dad texted, "Hope the move went well." 5 words showing how hard he finds this new reality. Mom calls weekly now. Her words are careful but more genuine each time. Small steps toward real connection. Juliet arrives with a plant and a bottle of wine. No more designer bags. She wears sensible clothes for her first real job. The apartment search is going well, she says, helping me set the table. My roommate's an accountant. She's teaching me how to budget. Her voice carries a new humility that still surprises me. Later, Robert helps me hang curtains in the bedroom, steady with the drill. Have you thought about next summer? He asks. That cabin on Mount Hood is still available. I smile, no longer afraid of the future. I'd like that, I answer. When everyone leaves, I prepare for my first night alone in my new home. I frame the Christmas card, the $2 card that started everything, and place it on my desk. It no longer means invisibility. It means strength born from pain. I open my journal and write on a blank page. Worth is inherent. Not earned, not granted by others. At school, a young teacher came to me yesterday in tears. Her family had dismissed her achievements. I knew that looked too well. Your boundaries aren't selfish, I told her, handing her tissues, the validation I once needed myself. My savings account grows now, renamed Future Dreams instead of Emergency Fund. The pottery studio called about displaying my work next month. From my balcony, I watch the Portland sky glow with sunset colors. 1 year ago, I cried in my car over a meaningless card. Tonight, I stand inside a life I built myself. The gift, I whisper into the evening air, was finding myself. I close my journal, no longer needing anyone's approval to know my value. I turn off the porch light and walk into rooms filled with intention and self-respect. Love that must be earned is not love at all.